Hello Epic 7 newbies, this is Suspect Amy, and I'm here to do a quick video about how a lazy girl like me selects and gathers all of the gear pieces I want to put charms into in my next upgrading session. I made a similar video about 3 months ago, but I've made a few adjustments since then, so I figured it's time for an update. My gear upgrading videos are always a little unorthodox. Some people like my methods, and some people hate them. Let me know where you land in the comments below. Let's start with the most common gear gathering, and that's through farming hunts or Rift. We just had a bonus drop weekend, so I spent all of my saved up stamina and leaves to farm Rift like crazy. Here's all the gear I ended up with from a full day of farming. Now, my process for deciding what to keep and what to throw away is ridiculously easy. I just sort by gear score and just start locking any new pieces with a score of 29 or higher. Why gear score 29? This is just a number I chose based on where my account is at after 2 years of playing. If you're newer and have less gear upgraded, you may want to go lower, like 26 or 27. 29 is a pretty aggressive minimum gear score on new equipment. Purple pieces of gear very rarely make this cut, and even for red pieces, the starting rolls need to be decent. The issue with Epic 7 is that the game can't handle more than 500 pieces of gear in your main inventory. Anything more than this requires you to do storage swapping, and that process is really tedious. This is the #1 reason why you need to just be brutal and ruthless with your gear. If it's even on the border of inadequate, toss that thing in the trash. Some people say, "Hold up, Amy, you are throwing perfectly good pieces in the trash." Like this one right here. It's 26 gear score, so my system will toss this, but it's a purple piece with perfect substats for a Soul Weaver or a Knight. And look at those rolls. All 3 of these are either max rolls or close to it. Why in the world would you throw this in the trash? Because gear score is king, my friend. 26 gear score kinda sucks. This piece looks incredible compared to other purple pieces, but if you compare it to a red piece with a similar score, like this one right here, 25 gear score, also with great substats for Knight or Soul Weaver. These are terrible rolls. All of these rolls are either minimum or close to minimum rolls. No one would bat an eyelash at throwing away this red piece, but people say the same gear score on a purple piece is amazing? That doesn't make any sense. Remember, there is a limit to how much gear the game will let you keep, and leveling resources are really hard to come by. So don't fall into the trap of thinking crappy gear score pieces are worth it just because they're hitting the upper limit of a lower rarity. Now, for necklaces, rings, and boots, feel free to lock anything with a gear score of 28. You want to be a bit more lenient with these pieces because they have a variable main stat. This means large groups of these pieces are automatically off limits to certain hero types. In the end, you want a few more chances to gain usable gear for these slots. It's speed check time. Go through the leftover unlocked gear and look for any pieces with 3 or more speed. Upgrade them 1 stat jump at a time and try to get 3 straight rolls into speed. If you do, lock it and move on to the next piece. As soon as you don't get a roll into speed, leave it and move on. Okay, let's just extract all of these trash boots since we don't need to speed check those. This will clear up a little clutter. If you see red pieces with 2 speed, feel free to give those a shot too. While I'm doing speed checks, let me answer a viewer question from one of my older videos. They asked if I would still upgrade gear this way if we had a much larger inventory limit and never needed to swap in and out of storage. Actually, I wouldn't. I'd be happy keeping much lower gear scores around, and I'd focus a bit more on substat synergy instead of overall gear score. Maybe this just goes back to me being so lazy about everything. Storage swapping is so annoying to me that I'm willing to throw a bunch of my gear in the garbage just to avoid it as much as I can. And what's the easiest way to find a huge chunk of gear to throw away? Gear score, of course. Now you guys have a peek into Amy's lazy mind. Speaking of which, how do you guys manage your gear between storage and main? I've always been curious about that. What I do is keep all of my 2-piece sets in my main along with 1 4-piece set, like Counter for example, that I'm currently trying to equip on a hero. Whenever I want to equip some heroes with speed gear, I'll swap all of my counter pieces to storage and bring out my speed pieces. How do you guys do it? Okay, speed checking done. Now extract all unlocked rings and necklaces, then sell everything else and you're pretty much done. Throw everything waiting to be upgraded into storage. See? I told you it was easy. I need to do 2 more things to get gear before I start my gear upgrading session. One is speed boots. I need lots and lots of speed boots. Let's start with making 20 of these speed things. Then just start crafting speed boots like crazy. Just pick whatever set you have the most of. No need to be picky here. Lock anything 28 and higher, but trust me, pickings are really slim here. I think I might need to reevaluate my minimum boot score, make it 26 or something. I'm having an awful time making decent speed boots. But I really hate having a system where I have like a different minimum score for every slot or something. Right now, I just have 2 scores for right side and left side pieces, and it's already hard to explain. I think I'll keep it at 28 and just pray for some decent rolling RNG. Okay, that went so badly, I'm going to create another 20 speed essences. Not good, my friends. I crafted 45 speed boots and I'm keeping only 7. Terrible RNG. Finally, we're on the last step. Let's reset gear. If something rolled really poorly, we can use this currency to reset the piece, so we can try rolling again to see if we have better luck. The pieces that the system recommends are really good choices. The only 2 tips I have are, for right side gear, stay away from resetting pieces that have a weak main stat or poor synergy with the substats. Other than that, just look for really high starting gear scores, as these will be the easiest to level and they often have potential to be a top 20 piece in your account, so it's worth giving these another shot. For example, this is a 42 gear score starting piece. I believe this is the maximum starting gear score a piece can have, and this type can often have the best substat synergy. Anyways, at this point you should have a bunch of decent gear pieces in storage waiting for you to start your upgrading session. I'll post a video in a few days where I'm actually upgrading my gear. I streamlined a few things since my last video a couple of months ago. Hopefully it will come in handy. That's all I have today. Thanks for watching my video. Bye everyone.